Welcome to the Bamboo Method, Investing in the Unseen, a show about what it's like to play the long game. With fast food, 2-day shipping, and so-called overnight success stories, we live in a world that tells us if you don't see results by tomorrow, maybe it's just not worth it. But anything worth building usually takes time. So we're here to ask, what are the things that are worth putting in the work and investing in, even if we don't see results for a long time? Today's guest is Cameron Schieldt, a marketing expert whose path led him from growing up on a Christian camp in Montana to helping launch marketing campaigns for global brands. At the time of this recording, Cameron was the Senior Director of Strategic Operations at ChildBridge, a nonprofit that finds and equips families for children in the foster care system in Montana. However, Cameron stepped away from the role at the start of 2026. His time at ChildBridge was pivotal to its growth and success, and his impact will be felt for years to come. In this episode, Cameron talks about prioritizing personal health in demanding seasons, investing in the team he leads, and learning how to replace poor habits with productive ones.
Well, thanks for being here, Cameron.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Super excited to chat. And I'd love to hear personally, what are you nurturing in your life right now?
Yeah,
it's taken a while to see fruit.
Yeah, I love this question. I think what really comes to mind is personal health. I really am becoming more of an advocate of understanding what actual health looks like in my life. I've been, not to go down like a crazy rabbit trail here, but I've been learning a lot about metabolic health and insulin resistance and understanding, how do I be the healthiest version of myself? I think we have been in kind of a culture of nobody thinks about this a lot, of what am I actually putting into my body every day? And the idea of you don't have to do something crazy to be much healthier. You just have to eliminate the things you're putting in your body that are really unhealthy for you.
So what have you eliminated?
We really try to stay, my wife and I, we really try to stay away from a lot of synthetic ingredients and toxins and a lot of, pesticides and this kind of stuff. I mean, we're not perfect, but that's kind of the journey that we've been on. Just to get personal, I've had, blood pressure issues, which you would maybe never guess. I mean, I was an athlete in high school and I've been pretty active, my whole adult life, but it's I think a lot of diet stuff over the years. And so this is really within probably the last year and a half that I've really, dived into this of, all right, what can I do to make sure that my body is operating at the highest potential that it currently has? Yeah.
So you brought up, I'd love to hear, you're married?
Yeah.
How long have you been married for?
I've been married for a year.
Yeah.
Yep. Last September.
How'd you guys meet?
Yeah, we met, we lived in the same apartment complex, and one morning I went down and introduced myself and found out that we were both headed to the same church that morning. And awesome. So the long running joke is I obviously made the first move. I went down and introduced myself, but my wife certainly found me at church. Okay. So yeah, we just hit it off instantly, and the rest is kind of history. We dated long distance for about a year and a half. That was challenging. If you want to talk about personal challenges and what can be learned from that, I have a lot of those.
I'm sure. I'm sure your communication, you had to learn how to communicate real well.
Very well. Yep.
Yeah. Which is a wonderful resource to have and lesson to learn, but maybe not the most ideal way to learn it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So going back to the personal health, diet, eliminate, toxins. So are you, is it like organic? You said no pesticides.
Yeah.
So if you could label any of the specific changes you've made, Whole Foods, organic, where does all that fit?
Yeah. We try to eat organic as much as we can. Okay. Obviously that's not always possible, but to the best of our ability. Yep. And then we really have tried to eliminate, we don't cook on non-stick anymore, like trying to get rid of all of the PFAs and the forever chemicals. And there's just a lot of bad stuff around that. Yep. And then we really try to just not eat, you look at some of these ingredient labels and
it's wild.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 70 ingredients on a
Yeah.
cracker,
Yeah.
label. And you're just going, this is not good.
Yeah.
Not healthy. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I'd say those are some of the main ways that we really have tried to, and I'll be honest, I feel so much better since starting this about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I was going to ask what has changed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel better. Talk about what that feels like.
My blood pressure has gone down.
Yeah.
I have more energy. A lot of this was, we did kind of a caffeine freeze for a couple months, and I could just operate normally. I had great energy levels, when I go to the gym or run or whatever it is. I just had sustained energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I've eliminated caffeine or minimized it, energy goes up and is far more consistent.
Yep.
It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
It can be easy to think about, man, I just need caffeine all the time.
Yep. It's kind of a crutch.
Yeah. What was the catalyst
Mm-hmm.
for I need to make some changes here? Because food is a big deal, right? We're eating a lot and it's fun. It's great to eat
fun.
good tasting food. That can be a hard change that I know a lot of people struggle with. I've struggled with making all those necessary changes, but what was the motivation?
Motivation was we read a book called Good Energy, and it just kind of blew the top off of this for us in terms of, I think that we all grow up not understanding what true health actually looks like. And you just kind of fall into the norm of just, eat whatever's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't eat a lot of processed food in the first place, but just not really understanding how valuable just raw, very whole food is, understanding a lot of the chemicals that have now made it into our food in a lot of different ways. And so we read this book, and it just transformed my thoughts on what true health actually looks like.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So what's do you have any, because you got to do the adjustments in stages. What stage are you at right now? What's some of the most recent adjustments?
Yeah. I think the adjustment that we're on right now is we've kind of gone the organic route, or at least really trying to eliminate a lot of that. Currently, I would say my wife is gluten intolerant, so there's, we obviously don't eat a lot of gluten, but really kind of more to the limited whole ingredient method.
Yeah.
And trying to make sure that everything that we're eating is just the ingredients that we're wanting to eat.
Yeah. Whole foods.
Yep.
Whole food derivatives.
Yep.
Yeah. What was the hardest thing in that adjustment? Maybe the hardest food or meal to give up or aspect of eating?
Cost.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Right.
Man, it's expensive, and I have to justify it by just thinking, all right, I can pay for less now with the healthy food that I'm putting in my body, or, I'll pay for it later with healthcare costs and, whatever comes down the line, just the variety of things,
Absolutely.
So that's really kind of the hardest part, I would say, just as everything else is so expensive anyway now. And that's just even more expensive.
Yeah. It's the long game, right?
Yeah.
It might
It's a
taste
long
good now,
vision. Mm-hmm.
but down the road, what's it going to cost on your body?
Yep.
And I know a lot of our parents or even their parents, the older generations are like, well, I would eat and drink that, all my whole life. And it's like, well, I think it was different then.
Yeah.
And some people can eat and drink and smoke and do whatever they want for the life. Some people just, I don't know. It works out that they still live to 100.
Yep.
And for others, it doesn't work out the same way. But it's so true that it's a long game.
Yeah.
And I know that for me and Kristen, as we've adjusted our diet, mine is a little bit more restrictive than hers is. One of the biggest challenges is the social component.
Mm-hmm.
Has that played a factor in for you guys at all? Whether it's going out to eat with friends or if someone invites you over?
Yes.
And it can get weird, and it's and that's where you have to be somewhat loose. But there's been seasons of my life where I was very strict for health reasons. Yeah. And that's the most, it's I'll eat whatever. I can eat rice by myself alone at home.
Yep.
But if I'm going to someone else's house, so how do you guys navigate even some of those aspects?
I try to educate and help all my friends along the same journey.
You're an evangelist. Yes,
so that,
absolutely.
Yeah, honestly, so that, I want them to be as healthy as they can be. And I am that kind of personality where if I believe in something, I see something that I, really latch onto, I'm going to tell everybody that I know about it. And so that's more my approach.
Yeah.
And again, I think 90, 10, 80, 20, that's kind of our goal
Yeah.
You know, there's times where we don't follow it, and obviously we're eating stuff we shouldn't probably eat, but I think it's in like doing it as much as you can possibly do it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is just getting it out of your own house helps so much, because if it's not there, I won't eat it.
Yeah.
If I just keep it out of my own house, you know, have it a little bit as I go out and go to dinner with friends or whatever. But yeah, if I get out of my own house, I'm pretty good then.
Yeah. The mindset, that association with it is key.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Any other aspects to the health that's been a main component for you?
Yeah. I mean, running is a big thing. Really kind of heart health has been trying to, not to get too nitty gritty here, but like spending a certain amount of time in each heart rate zone. I've really taken a lot of time and effort to try to increase that and just have, you know, zone 2, zone 4, and just get my heart rate up and make sure that I'm working my heart.
Yeah. So this year, you said you started diet about a year ago.
Yeah.
You're doing exercise. You said you're starting to feel a lot better. What do you feel like is the fruit that you're looking for and trying to nurture? Like, what are you hoping that this does for you besides, I know we talked about the preventative aspect, but what else are you hoping for?
Yeah, I think it is that energy level. I have a busy life and I have a lot of responsibilities, and I want to be able to do them with the amount of effort that they deserve.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would leave it at energy level.
Just want to show up well.
Yep.
Absolutely. And what you put in is what comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Thinking about your professional world.
Yeah.
What are you investing in? What are you nurturing that you see delayed fruit for?
I think it's people. I think investing in people and growing people's skills, helping people's skill align with their passion is a huge thing. We recently did the Clifton Strengths testing and had our entire team do that. And then we had an expert come in, do kind of a facilitation of it. And it was incredible for our team to learn about themselves, for me to learn about myself, and then have understanding of what are the top giftings and strengths that I have, and how can I use them, and how can I create more impact and be more aligned with the passions that I have with the strengths that I'm given.
Yeah. So what does that look like? How do you carry that out now that you've done the test? Have you guys had to replace a lot of or not replace, but move people into new positions? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's more along the lines of doing exercises with our team where you say you get the best of me when, you get the worst of me when, and putting more common language to how can I be a better teammate to you? How can you be a better teammate to me? Because we understand each other better. And also looking at what are other areas of responsibility that maybe you should have because you're really good at that. You're really passionate about that. You have the skill set that is needed to help us drive that forward. And so that has been really a fun year of learning people, learning strengths, and implementing them.
Yeah. And you took the test too, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Did you find anything out like that you were surprised about? What was that like for you personally?
Yeah, I had done it before this year.
Yeah.
But in doing it again, it really kind of solidified that I love strategy. I love building strategy. I love kind of figuring out how many different components come together to help accomplish an outcome. And that came forth in my testing pretty clearly.
And any surprises with your team?
Not really. I think the biggest surprises that we had were people who kind of had this aha moment of, I've never been able to explain, but now I have a piece of paper that tells you why I am the way that I am. It gives people kind of the ability to just own it and say, this is why I'm really organized. This is why I am really good with people. And this is why I'm really good at sales or, administration or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the qualities that, really elevate them in those positions.
Yeah. And is the main implementation then a continued conversation, or were there any big shifts?
Yeah, it's more of a continued conversation.
Yeah.
But there will be some shifting over time just to help align people with the skill sets that they have. nothing burns people out more than having to operate in a position where they are not passionate about it. They're not passionate about the responsibilities, or the responsibilities are draining to them. And so that's currently what we're analyzing a little bit with the team.
Yeah. So what was it like before that? What was the motivation for this, and the importance of like team at ChildBridge? We're talking about investing in team.
Yep.
Talk a little bit more about like why investing that. What were you seeing signs of burnout, or like what's the whole goal there?
Yeah, I think a big part of it is obviously we're trying to accomplish a pretty difficult mission.
Yeah.
And we can move that mission so much further forward and have so much more impact if we align people's giftings with their position. And I think part of it, to answer your question, is we have a really new team. We have a lot of new people at ChildBridge just because we're growing so much. And, don't quote me here, but I think we were at about 20, 18 to 20 people last year, and we're now at about, I think, 35.
Okay.
And so with that is the forming of a team.
Yeah.
And in the forming of a team, you have to have people learn each other, each other's preferences, working styles, strengths, giftings, all of that. And so just your question, it really fast tracked us so that people could have open and honest dialogue without having to kind of learn it in a more challenging way through projects where you have speed bumps and challenges. It kind of brings it to light before that, so you can kind of work through it quicker.
Yeah. I love that. I think, when you have small teams like that, you can still be somewhat scrappy, and you're just like get it doneness and just hustle, and we're just going to like keep going, and we're just doing it.
In it together.
Yeah. And
but all hands on deck.
Yeah. All hands on deck. But as you grow and get more, you got to really hand things off and create ownership and clarity. Yep. And I just think, clarity is just ownership, and what are you in and what are you not in? All that can make a huge difference on how fast you go.
Yeah. One other tangible example of how we're using this is we just built our 5-year strategic plan where, we're looking out across the entire org, how we're going to accomplish the mission, all of the initiatives that we're going to work on. And then we can look at the strengths assessments and say, man, we really need, this person, this person, and this person to work on initiative A. We really want to use these 4 people to work on initiative B. It really has helped us align the work with the talent.
That's so cool. Clarity.
Yep.
It's a big deal.
Clarity is kindness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love that. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's just such, excitement from the team around that, and momentum, and, you're going to want to take ownership of the things that you feel like you're good at, and when you feel like you're seen and heard and known in that.
Yep.
So what a cool way for your team to be like truly seen and put into sweet spots.
Yeah.
I love that. As a team, thinking about the team component there, how do you guys navigate the heaviness as a whole?
Yeah, first of all, we're in an employee assistance program where you can go do counseling, and you can, offload some of the heaviness of especially our parent coaches who hear a lot of very difficult stories on the day in and day out. Mm-hmm. We have team prayer in the morning, and we spend a lot of time encouraging each other in that and praying for specific things. And one of those is, just making sure that the team is, has hope in this and has encouragement in this. And then, a lot of it also has to do with, we have a very close team, and, if you're dealing with different situations, you can come talk about it. And there's a lot of resources and a lot of staff that use that.
Yeah, that's good. I just think it's in the business world and just in life, the to-do list never ending. But my to-do list has a lot less of like significant. If a video doesn't get finished at the end of the week, some people might be upset. Mm-hmm. I'll probably be anxious about it, but it's like, it doesn't have quite the same weight as like if a kid is still looking for a home.
Yeah.
How do you go home on a weekend, and how do you guys navigate that? Cause you could just work all hours of the day to try to, but that's attention, right? You can't just burn yourself out. Is there any way, like as a company, that you just approach something so heavy and delicate, but also you have to hold it somewhat loosely, right? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. I think you really do have to kind of create mental boundaries for yourself, because exactly as you say, you could really think about it forever, and it could bother you, and it's always going to bother you. But I think really it has to do with we've done a lot of professional training with the team on boundaries, and that plays a huge part into being able to let things go on the weekends and really focus on it during the time that you need to focus on it, and know that by you constantly stressing about it over the weekend isn't going to change the outcome. And so it can sound kind of harsh, but if you work in that space, I think you have to kind of take that approach because it is so heavy.
Yeah. Could crush you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I love the skills. And was that very present back when you were working in the marketing agencies? Did they do much like, it was just basically, here's your role.
Yeah.
Like make sure it gets done.
No, I'd never done something this comprehensive with a team ever.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if they weren't as popular at that time.
Sure.
Or to be honest, when you're in the kind of marketing agency world, it is fast and you don't spend a lot of time on internal reflection. You're just trying to appease clients all the time. And so I don't think there was that priority.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? Like when you worked in those agencies, you guys did some amazing work. Mm-hmm. Granted, you're working like 10 to 10 hours, like long hours and weekends and all that, but you loved it. Mm-hmm. So like when you've experienced both, how can you have one that, what are your thoughts on doing those things when you've also seen it not done and it still was pretty successful?
Yeah, I think that it would have been helpful at that time, especially with just team dynamic, team effort, and understanding each other. But at the same time, I think you have to have a team that is interested in learning about that.
Okay.
You have to have a team that wants to work better together, and that you create that culture kind of from the top down.
Yeah.
To say, all right, we have either some issues or could have some potential issues, and we're going to take some intentional time to learn more about each other. And this isn't just personality driven. This is like, hey, what are your strengths and what are the things that you bring to the team that we should be relying on and using for different projects? That's where I think the beauty is you have a team that gets that vision and then fully engages with it. Because if you get on the other side of that and you have team members who aren't participating in kind of the, you get the best of me when, you get the worst of me when type exercises, it's not valuable. But if a team is bought in, they'll dive into it and you'll get some gold out of it.
Yeah. I'm guessing the whole team was bought in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
Hey everyone, Wade here. Before we get to the final question, if you like the show so far and want to hear more, you can support the Bamboo Method on Patreon. There you can listen to the full director's cut of this conversation and help make this show possible.
In Montana, we have at any given time roughly 2,000 kids in the foster care system who have been removed from their families due to abuse and neglect. And so what ChildBridge does is we find families who will care for these kids, and then we equip them with trauma education so that they know how to help these kids heal.
What is Montana going to look like if we don't take care of this?
It's a cycle that keeps repeating. There's one family that has experienced trauma, and then it splits into a couple different kids who all have experienced trauma and then are passing along abuse and neglect. And it just keeps rolling and growing. And that's why we have to break the cycle.
Transitioning to our last question, what are you nurturing that you wish you weren't? What's something in your life you'd like to throw away?
Yeah, that's a great question. Very thought-provoking. I think a big one is part of what I do is being, I've always been in marketing, PR. I'm always, aware of what's going on, in the world. And while I think there's importance to that, I think I can really tend to overdo it of constantly trying to keep up with, what is happening. Just the scroll. I mean, you mentioned it before we even started this, but that's very relevant and true to me and how do I just disconnect, and spend more intentional time with the people in my life. I mean, that's what's important at the end of the day, and one of the things that I'm really trying to be more disciplined in right now is reading a lot more and kind of replace, because it's one thing to just stop something, but you kind of have to replace a habit.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the habit that I'm trying to really improve on right now.
Change some of the social consumption to more beneficial consumption of like reading or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great, because my next question was going to be, how do you go about that? And because I think everyone can relate to that on some level of consuming too much in social media, and just the time suck that can be, the vacuum that can just suck you into,
and the anxiety, right? Like,
oh man,
it's just to be better at seeing what is right in front of you in your own life than constantly looking at everybody else's lives, whether it's the news or social media or whatever. Yeah. That's a healthier spot to be.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What do you feel like drives you most to social media?
I think I like to know what is happening. If I don't know what's happening, I think about it a lot of, wanting to understand things, know more about different situations. And that is what drives, is just the information absorption and desiring that. Yeah.
Out of fascination, or out of like, I want to know so that I am prepared or aware or understand?
I'd say more fascination, trying to understand the world and understand what's happening in it. But there is so much happening in the world at this point.
Yes. I think more than we are made to know.
No. Yep.
I think
I'm becoming more okay with that.
Yeah. Right. It's tough. It's a tough tension though, right? Because it's like, it is a tension.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an all or nothing, and I can absolutely relate. And especially in the world that we live in, social media is a big part of our work lives, and how we engage with the world around us. And so having that be a piece to it, it's like, I can't cut it off completely. But then, how do you replace it and have good times to be present? I think, one of the things I've just had so much on my mind in the past, really since having kids, is to be where my feet are. And it's been, my oldest is almost 8. Will be in a few months. And I'm like, I wish I could say, like, I started working on that when I had him, and I got to figure it out in a couple of years. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Be present, be where your feet are.
Yeah. That makes me really think about the other thing I was going to say, which is I have a tendency to really think about the future a lot, and like dream about the future, hope for the future, just think about where I want to be. And an element of that is healthy, but my current practice is to try to be much more present, and focus on what is right in front of me and enjoy what is happening right now. I can dream about the future and still enjoy what is currently in front of me.
Yeah. Is there anything that helps you do that? If you can feel yourself getting pulled?
Definitely. I think devotionals in the morning are huge for me, and just grounding myself in the Bible and kind of the plan that, God has for my day. And then I think just turning off technology, getting it away. My wife and I intentionally do that once a week at least, and get outside. I think just having fresh air, it cannot be understated how important that is. And just, going for a couple walks a day and just enjoy outside. It helps cleanse the brain of all of the things that are going on.
Yeah. You said you guys put your phones away. Yeah. Like you do like no media for like a couple days
social
a week?
Media.
Yeah. Is that a weekly thing or?
Yeah, we do it once on the weekend. Usually we hope to be able to do it a little bit more, but
I love that.
Just put your phone away and just be present.
Yep. Create some structure around it. It's like, you're not going to do it by accident, right? Yeah. You got to create some structure to like, this is the window of time that we don't need to have access to that.
Yeah. It goes back to, if you don't fill it with something, it'll just filter back in. Absolutely. Flow back in. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk a little more about that balance of, so easy to get sucked in, and whether we like it or not, social media, news, TV, all that is a part of our lives massively, for better or for worse. And even in your role, how do you approach balance? How do you take advantage of what it's good at, but also respect and maybe avoid what it's bad at? Yeah. How do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it comes down to, I look at how much time on my phone, and if I'm way over what I myself deem as appropriate, I will delete apps off of my phone. I will spend a little bit of time on them, a day, and then I will delete them off of my phone because there's always that temptation. And so that helps me create balance where it's just a designated time. And then I have, a time after that to focus on other things, whether it's reading or, working out, spending time with my wife, playing with the dogs, really like fun, simple things that really should fill a lot of my day.
That's great. Adding on to that, how do you think about that in terms of your work? Like taking advantage of the good things. Like I love that personally, but how do you then bring that into the workplace?
Yeah, it's similar where I will spend a certain dedicated block of time looking at what's going on. And then I do a lot of blocking on my calendar where I'm just focused. One of the other things, not to take a tangent here, but one of the other things I was thinking of that I really am working on is, multitasking, in my opinion, is kind of the death of productivity in a lot of ways, where you're split. I can get split between so many different projects, so many different responsibilities. And I have now actually started blocking time on my calendar. It sounds so simple, but I haven't done this for years just because I have so much going on. And I only focus on that, when I focus on the blocks, the responsibilities within that block. And that really helps me.
I mean, it sounds simple, but like
it's hard to do.
We're like for me and Wade, it's like we've talked about, like we got to implement, because you just have so many things that come up.
Oh man,
I think sometimes for like a little bit more on the creative side of minds, it's easy to squirrel,
Yes.
And I just have that huge tendency.
Yep.
So I think that's huge. And
what does that look like in the morning? Like, do you do it in the morning? Do you do it the week before? Like, how do you actually do that?
Like when do you set it up? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I do it the week before.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
So I'll do it, the back half of a week, like Thursday, Friday for the next week. Or if I know that I have something that's really important, that's going to take a lot of thought, a lot of creativity, that kind of thing, I'll just go set a block on my calendar 2 weeks out because I know that I have to get this done. And then I'll go kind of shift it, as I need to. But all of the things that I know take dedicated thought, I don't just write them on a to-do list. And that does not work for me. I will actually go put a 2-hour block on my calendar, the next week or the following week.
That's awesome.
How much of your week is blocked out then? Because that's the challenge, especially I'm sure in your role, you have a lot of people needing your time and having the margin of just like whatever comes in. And so how much do you block out?
I would say I probably have about 70% blocked out, but that doesn't mean sometimes I won't block time for. We do kind of this approach where like I'll have creative review and anybody can schedule time within that block. I just have that fully set aside for anybody who wants to schedule time to review something. So with the block time, I have intentional time for other people too.
That's good. Yeah, that's important in your role, but it's also good to have the block out.
Yep. It's a game changer.
There's the book Deep Work where it just talks about got to get deep in it.
Yep.
Yeah. You have to give, and the theory in that is like, it takes a significant amount of time in one setting to get to deep work.
Yep.
And intentionality. And so,
there's no truer statement. It is incredibly hard for me to think through the complex components of an initiative or a project if I don't have enough time to get to that place.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm thinking about this thing, I'm thinking about that thing, and
problems are solved after you've just been in it.
Yep.
Significant problems for some time, ruminate on it, thought about it, and you have to
give yourself time.
Absolutely. Have to give yourself and your brain time. And I'm no expert, but I've heard psychologists recently some have debunked the idea of multitasking. Mm-hmm. That it's just not actually a thing our brain could do. I would agree with that. I don't think my mind can actually focus on more than one thing. So if I'm bouncing around, I'm not multitasking. I'm like shifting focus. I'm
wasting
not doing multiple
time.
things. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still focused on one thing at a time, but I just bounce around a bunch.
Yep.
And it's pretty ineffective.
Yes, agreed.
And unhelpful. And so, but however, you can ask Wade. He works in my office with me every time I'm working, and I can still, I'm a bouncer. So you got to be intentional with that. I love that.
Yep.
What does that look like with you and your wife? Are you guys on the same page as far as like some of that like tension of being present and how much you're on your devices or otherwise?
Yeah.
How does that balance work?
Yeah. Good question. Yes, we definitely are. It is a journey, I think. And part of it is that we are both very future focused. We both have kind of that bent to dream about the future and hope for what can be. And so we intentionally try to remind each other regularly, like, hey, let's be present. Let's enjoy this right here, right now. We're never going to get this time back, you know? And if we just end up dreaming our whole future away, we're going to look back and regret that. So yeah, we very intentionally do that. And whether that has to do with, you know, spending time intentionally together, getting off of social media, stop looking at the news. Yeah, we definitely are in it together.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. I'd love to hear you share a little bit about where people, if they're interested in getting engaged with foster care. I know we already talked about it before. Where do they find ChildBridge? What would be that next step? Whether they want to do a class or find you online or social, anything like that.
Yeah. So go to childbridgemontana.org. If you click on foster at the top of the page, it'll take you to our foster care page, and there you can sign up for a virtual free info meeting, and you'll get a Zoom link that will be delivered to your email inbox. And then you just click that and join our advocates as they talk about casual, no pressure, simple foster care information and what you can do to take the next step if you're interested.
Heck yeah. And a couple of shameless plugs. If you don't want to answer these, you don't have to, for ChildBridge. How much of the foster care or foster parents in Montana come from some way of ChildBridge? Like how big is ChildBridge in Montana as far as its impact?
Yeah, very large. We're the primary recruiting arm for the state of Montana. And so that's why we partner so closely with them, because we do most of that work for them. And so most families, not all, but most families that are coming through, you know, there's anywhere from 400 to 600 families at any time that are licensed foster families in Montana. Sometimes more, it just depends. And so, the process with the state is ChildBridge is very integral with that. So,
heck yeah. And finally, someone who's just like scared of the idea, they feel some tugging to be a foster parent, but they're a little bit scared.
Yep.
What would you say to that? And maybe even speak a little bit to the resources you have on the website. Yep. There's a lot that will help give some context. What would you say to someone in that space?
First of all, if you don't want to come to an info meeting, you can meet with one of our advocates just one-on-one. They'll grab coffee with you. They'll walk you through all of the fears, all the concerns that you have. Our team is amazing. And they work with people every day who have the same fears. You know, there's nothing you can bring that they have not heard. And so that's a really good way. If you don't want to join a Zoom call with a bunch of people, just meet with one of our advocates. You can, on the same page on our website, the foster page, you can go and schedule a meeting with one of our foster care advocates. And yeah, it's one of those things where just come learn more, you know?
Yeah.
There's no forcing anything here. It's just learn more. If you come to an info meeting or meet with an advocate and decide, yeah, this really isn't for me, I don't feel that I'm meant to step into this, awesome. Go, buy a foster family a meal. Go do respite care.
Yeah. So many ways to engage.
Yeah.
So many ways. And just big deal that I'll say is like, those kids don't need a superhero. They just need someone to love them.
Exactly.
You don't have to be a superhero. It's for anyone who just wants to love a kid or help fill the gap in that huge need.
Yep.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Thanks for being here today,
Thanks,
Cameron.
man.
It's great chatting with you.
Yeah.
Love hearing about your history and what you're doing at ChildBridge. Love what you guys do. Super grateful for it. And excited for the road ahead. You guys are doing awesome things at ChildBridge, but I'm also excited for you and Abby and the road you guys have ahead. And I'm guessing there's probably some a lot of fun going on even with the kids in your guys' world maybe at some point, right? Growing your family. So
we'll see.
I'm trying to encourage you to go that route. You should have kids because you'd be a great dad.
Yep. Thanks.
And always fun chatting with you. Always a good time.
Yep. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Love chatting.
Thanks for listening. And remember, anything worth building usually takes time. If you like the show, give us a follow wherever you're tuning in. It really helps us out. To see more, check out the links in the description and follow us on Instagram. And here's a sneak peek of the next episode.
I feel like growth is harder to navigate than starting. Because when you start, it's so simple. You in a lot of ways, you're kind of blissfully unaware.
Yeah.
You know, you just jump in, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and you're on fire, right? You got that hustle. That was my mantra when I started Hannison Home, was hustle. That was just like, I could have tattooed it across my forehead. It's just hustle, get up, go to work, show up.
Yeah.
And so, and you still do that, but after like going on 6 years, you're like, whew, it's
right.
not sustainable.